Well, hey, y'all. It looks like it's a couple minutes after 7 o'clock Central Time. I am Eric Matei. Thank you all for joining us for this live episode of Access with some really remarkable guests. Dr. Paul Moore and Dr. Chris Roten, co-founders of the GRT Summit, joining us this evening to talk a little bit about what is going on there in modern optometry and what the vision of the GRT Summit is, as well as details on the inaugural event going down later this year. So Dr. Moorman, Dr. Roten, thank you all for joining us this evening. How are you?
Doing great.
Doing well there. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, hey, what do y'all say we take it from the top and just go ahead and introduce yourselves, a bit about your background and, kind of what the vision is behind GRT.
So I'm Paul Moorman from Memphis, Tennessee. I've got co-partners with two other partners, 4 practices in Memphis. And way we started this was, I just decided I love doing stuff outdoors and I love visiting national parks. So met up with Eric at the Vision Expo several years back, and we had a great conversation just about what was facing optometry. And we decided that, man, we're going to make some cool just event where everybody gets together, optometry, get everybody excited about optometry again, private practice, retaining your practice, not selling out to private equity, and just creating a legacy for your staff, for your patients, and for your new partner that might be joining the practice too. Chris and I were in school together at SCO, year apart, but we were both presidents at the same time of our state association. So really big on state advocacy also, and just keeping optometry at the forefront. I'll let Chris talk more about that, just because he has a lot more involvement with AOA, SECO, and some other organizations. So I'll hand it off to Chris.
Well, thanks, Paul. It's great to be with everyone this evening. And my name is Chris Roten. I'm in private practice in Southeast Louisiana. I've got a multi-location practice with my partner, Dr. Hunter Bond. We've got several wonderful staff doctors who work with us. We've got a couple of ophthalmologists that do surgeries for us, and we handle the billing for them. And it's just a wonderful practice. We get to do everything with our scope in Louisiana, from seeing infants to geriatric patients and providing vision care to the medical side of things, even some surgeries and lasers and whatnot. So it's just been a wonderful ride for me through optometry. My background's in chemical engineering. I know that's one of our worst patients as optometrists, but yes, I'm guilty. I have a bachelor's in chemical engineering. I actually worked at Exxon for a couple of years before deciding to go back to optometry school. And kind of along the way in an interim there, I even taught a high school chemistry class and was an assistant high school basketball coach in Southeast Louisiana for my former coach while I was getting a couple of optometry prereqs. So love the outdoors, love sports, just like Paul. And we reconnected a couple of years ago, and then Paul brought this idea forth with Eric, and it's just something that I'm super pumped about and really excited to be a part of. So we'd love to have you as part of our GRT Summit.
Absolutely. And y'all, if we think through kind of what prompted this whole vision, a lot of it came down to the fact that we are indeed witnessing the largest transition of practice ownership that the industry has ever seen. And that you all have a vision and have developed some innovative approaches, some inventive approaches to ways for private practitioners to continue to grow, retain, and ultimately transition a thriving practice. So it's on behalf of all of us here at Akrinos, it's extremely exciting to be a part of the GRT Summit. So what do y'all say we go ahead and jump into it and share with our viewers a bit about GRT Summit 2022?
Sounds great.
Let's go.
Well, if you're not already familiar with GRT Summit and what we've got planned, we're going to have our inaugural summit in Zion National Park, November 2nd through the 6th. So it'll be this fall. We're really pumped about this opportunity. As Paul mentioned earlier, he loves the outdoors with his family. I do as well. We've been to a lot of national parks across the country, done a lot of hiking and canoeing and kayaking and horseback riding and zip lining and all those wonderful outdoor activities. And I know for me personally, they just recharge my batteries as I get back into clinical care after a trip to some of our wonderful outdoor parks like this. And so we picked the #4 most visited national park in the United States, Zion National Park, to be the home for GRT Summit #1. As you can see there, we're going to be at the Cliff Rose Lodge, which is a wonderful property. It's one of the curio collections that Hilton has. And it was founded there in 1988, built around some botanical gardens there. And so the Cliff Rose Gardens surround the hotel itself. There's pathways through them. Of course, there's the typical hotel pool and spa, hot tubs, literally your steps from the Virgin River in Utah, and every room has a view of the canyons and the peaks there for Zion Canyon. So you're just going to love the opportunity to be out in nature. This is just a wonderful property. We'll have our attendees will be flying into either Las Vegas or into St. George, Utah. And we'll have transitions over on November the 2nd. We want to have everybody on property by 5 p.m. on November the 2nd so we can begin our meeting. This is not your typical meeting. We'll talk a little bit about that later. We've got plenty of time built in to, again, to help us recharge our batteries, not just focus on CE, not just focus on practice management, all of which is important, but we recognize the importance of our physical well-being also, and that's something that's a big part of GRT Summit. And so as you can see, we've got kind of a concierge or a la carte menu of things that you can choose to participate in, whether that's our sunrise and sunset hikes that we have planned. There's an evening of stargazing with s'mores. We've got some adventure hikes that are a little bit more adventurous, more strenuous, I guess I should say. We've got horseback riding, some ATV tours, brewery tasting, spa relaxation events, and we want you to bring your spouse or significant other with you because we really think it's a team effort. So this is not something that's just for the doctor. We want you to bring your spouse or significant other with you so that we can really all collectively enjoy the beauty of Zion National Park.
Yeah, and so looking forward to being a part of it, Dr. Roten. So looking forward to it. And Dr. Mormon, I know, part of the vision here. I mean, obviously this stuff doesn't happen kind of spontaneously happen. I know this is made possible given the support of a lot of partners who share in that vision.
Yeah, so we're very fortunate to have some great just partners in this meeting. We've kind of tried to limit it to, just one per industry or one per field of optometry, because we just don't want. I mean, I go to meetings where there's 3 contact lens vendors, there's 3 tech vendors. I mean, we try to really just not only select just one vendor that we feel like can really impact your practice and help you in that growing and retaining and transition, but also just folks that are going to be just continuous partners with us too, not just for this one meeting, but as you'll learn a little bit more, somebody that will follow us along in our journey of collaborating with each other as colleagues and peers, and help us along the way, not just from the one meeting. And that's the whole point of this meeting, is it's not just going to be a single meeting. It's going to be a pre, post, and let's get together again in a year and a year following that. But just to name our vendors, you can see them all. But just thanks to all of our vendors, Alcon, MacuHealth, Akrinos, who was our original vendor, because Eric, helped me along with this meeting and got me. He actually helped out facilitate Chris and I getting back together a couple of years ago to talk about this meeting. So this has been in the works for a couple of years. RVL, Optify, who's a great new partner with regards to putting your frames online. NeuroLens, Scope, which has got some great dry eye products. And we're gonna you'll learn a little more here too, but we're gonna have some challenges built around our vendors that we have for post-meeting success, for implementation, for utilizing these vendor in their products to help us grow and to be able to follow it, and also to have a challenge built in to where we're all accountable to each other for our growth.
Yeah. And on that note, let's now get into talking about a bit of the structure of GRT Summit, and realizing that GRT Summit, it's not just a transactional kind of fly in, fly out meeting, right? But it's more of a This is more of a process. So let's go ahead and jump into some of that as well.
Yeah, Eric, you're exactly right. Our goal is not to replace the state association meetings that you have. We want you to continue to go to those and support AOA at optometry's meeting or your regional meetings. Those are all great, but our meeting is not designed to be a suit and tie meeting where you show up, pay your money, get your certificate stamped either digitally or manually, and then you fly home and it's over with. We are going to offer some CE, again, just to try to make it even more, be more efficient, I guess, with our time while we're away from our practices. And we've got some tremendous CE to get together an exclusive group of ODs who are in private practice. Whether you own or don't own, you're welcome to come. But we're looking for those who are like-minded, who are really invested in staying a part of their community, retaining control of their practice, retaining their best patients, growing that practice in an appropriate way, an appropriate manner, retaining staff, and then eventually getting to the point of transitioning, being able to transition a thriving optometry practice from one optometrist to another, as opposed to some of the other options that may exist. So we've built in some pre-meeting webinars for our attendees, which will get into ways that we can even maximize our revenue, generate revenue while we're at the GRT Summit away from the practice. We'll get into some medical CE while we're there. We'll have several hours of that where we cover new technologies, emerging treatments, things that we can incorporate into our practices to help adopt the medical model if we're not doing that much. We're not giving up on vision care at all. We'll have plenty of that covered in strategies and ideas to maximize the vision care side of things, but also making sure that we don't leave things on the table with regards to medical eye care. And how can we really incorporate that and discuss everything from advanced procedures and lasers and lid procedures, optometric aesthetics, things that can be easily incorporated into practice to differentiate us from those who are around, so that we can improve the quality of life of our patients. And when we do that, we all benefit. And that's what's really the appeal for all of us, is we're looking for the opportunity to really enhance a patient's quality of life, utilize the technology that's out there in such a way that we're more efficient in our offices, and allows us just to continue to grow and excel. So that's the whole purpose of the GRT Summit.
It's such an exciting time, Dr. Roten, and what you guys have put together with GRT Summit is helping empower doctors to capitalize on what is such an exciting time in optometry. And that is with this growing public health need for vision and medical eye care and an expanding scope of care. It's just such a wonderful time to be in private practice optometry, in taking care of patients in the community, and in so doing, growing absolutely thriving practices. So let's keep this conversation going about GRT Summit, and we're talking about CE, but there's also a heavy practice management emphasis as well. Dr. Mormon, if you want to share some insight on that.
Yeah, this is where Chris and I think are just a really just great blend of practitioners, where he's got more of a medically minded practice, where I have more of just your traditional optometry practice. So we're going to talk. I'll reiterate again. This is not your transactional meeting. This is why we totally built it this way, is because Chris and I have both been to too many meetings. We had this discussion where you just show up, you learn some CE, you take some notes, you put it in your bag, you take it home, and then you kind of forget about it. So our whole goal is to, when you leave this meeting, it's just starting your journey. It's not the end of the meeting. It's starting your journey down the road to growing, retaining and transitioning. So there's gonna be a lot of practice management CE designed to grow your profit centers, grow your staff into better leadership positions, and then just to grow yourself as a leader within your practice, both professionally and personally. How to use the tools that we're going to talk about to become a better father, to become a better husband, just in general, just how to grow. We're going to talk about books that you can read to help you personally in these kind of becoming a better leader within your office. We're going to talk about how to retain your 5-star patients, because that's what we all want. We all want our 5-star patients to come back every year. And when I say that, I mean, these are our patients that they do what we say. They buy their goods from us. They come back, on their annual basis. We also want to show you ways to retain your key team members, so you don't have a lot of turnover and you can keep these just great team members for the long haul. We want to retain our profits, so we're going to talk about how ways we can retain profits and keep those within the office. We're going to talk about transitioning your practice, so not just about just growing and retaining, but we want to transition our practices all to modern practices. That's what the consumer wants. They want to come into a modern practice that has technology, has the newest products, the newest materials in contact lenses and spectacle lenses. And this is kind of one of the bases that Eric and I really talked about, is how do we transition our associates into partners. So there's a really unique way to do that, and where you have to train your associates how to become big partners. And let's just face it, we're not good at this. And it took me probably 2 or 3 times going through associates to figure out how do I find a good associate, and then how do I take them into becoming just a fantastic partner. And I'm so fortunate to have 2 of them, and one of them will be out there at the meeting with us. So anybody who attends will be able to speak with a partner of mine that we've taken from he was originally an extern in our practice to then an associate and now a partner. So
that's awesome. That's incredible. And I must say also, and this is something that really resonated with GRT Summit and the vision that you all had around this, and why I wanted to have Akrinos help make this possible, is because when we're talking about grow, retain, transition, these 3 pillars of GRT Summit, it applies to any business. And quite frankly, it applies to these things that are integral and vitally important to any business, and things that aren't necessarily taught in school. So it's really exciting. It's a huge service you guys are providing to the industry also in putting together GRT Summit. So let's now talk a bit about kind of this ongoing experience that is GRT, right? Because again, we're not talking about just going to a meeting at a location, getting some CE and going home, but rather there is this newfound camaraderie through study groups, ongoing projects. If you guys want to, please share with us a bit about what that aspect looks like.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Eric. As Paul mentioned, we've all been to those meetings where we take a few notes down, put them in our briefcase or laptop bag on the way home on the plane or driving back home, and then those very rarely ever get pulled out and actually implemented. And so, our goal with this, again, is to bring like-minded ODs together. And also, we don't claim to have all the answers. There'll be some interaction amongst the attendees on site at GRT Summit there in Utah. And we're looking for feedback and bouncing ideas off of one another. And then we want that to carry beyond the meeting. And so we're going to actually assign our attendees to some study groups if they want to participate in those that continue after the meeting, and they may meet and grow and kind of organically become whatever they may need to be down the road. We will have post-meeting webinars as well, where we touch base and say, all right, how are we doing with this? How is that working? There may be even some live follow-up meetings regionally as this continues to grow and expand, to continue to further, growth and implementation of various strategies within our offices. And we're even going to have some intra-office challenges through some of our industry partners who are coming alongside us to see, all right, who's growing in this area and growing in that area, and some friendly competition that can be rewarded with prizes and things. So again, we're really, really excited about this because it is a little bit different than a traditional meeting, as you can see. And so we're really looking for an exclusive group of ODs out there who are looking to grow their practices, retain their best patients, their best staff, their best doctors, retain control of their practices, and then eventually transition onto the next generation of optometrists.
Excellent. Super exciting stuff. And again, it all points to and to these key things that are so valuable right now is implementation and growth, right? Taking the time, and you guys have experienced it. Y'all have been practicing for many moons, been to many a CE meeting, picked up probably a lot of great pearls along the way. But again, it's a matter of implementing that. And part of this vision of which you guys have put together with GRT Summit and maintaining post-meeting study groups, mastermind groups, really exciting stuff. So it's kind of ironic, as seeing as one of the primary themes of GRT Summit is practice management and looking at the business side of the practice. Dr. Mormon, I mean, even when it boils down to when this meeting is scheduled for, it's definitely analytics driven. So why don't you give us a little background there, and also just share with us, I know this is a novel analysis tool that you've come to using. So please speak to this.
Yeah, and just before we get into this, I just want to just reiterate some of the things. Number one, if you come to this meeting, you have to have fun. You have to be willing to have fun, because this is going to be a fun group. This is going to be just an awesome group. We are. I didn't include this kind of in our slides, but we have already planned out like the next 2 to 3 years. So we don't want just somebody that comes to one meeting and then we never see them again. We want them to come to GRT 1. We want them to come to GRT 2. And there's going to be some cool things, and we're going to move the meeting around so it's a little bit easier to get to. We kind of have some plans for GRT 2, which would be in 2023, to be in Bar Harbor, Maine. So we're gonna continue the theme of sticking close to a national park, just because that's what we love. We're looking at Lake Tahoe, Jackson Hole, Wyoming. There's a whole lot of deals that we've kind of got in the works that I hope you guys can understand. This isn't just going to be a one-time thing. I mean, even if we don't get all the people there that we want, we're going to keep pushing this forward, because we feel like this is important, and we feel like this is what's going to keep optometry strong and keep us independent, because neither Chris nor I want to see us to go by the way of corporate optometry. There's already too much out there as it is. So we'll go back to that slide now, Eric, if you would.
Absolutely, yeah. Let that thing go.
So I am a huge analyzer of data. So you could probably see that from this this slide, but this slide's titled Crunch the numbers, analyze the data, and use all that to strategize your practice. So basically what I'm going back looking at here is 6 years worth of data. Well, 5 years plus the couple months of 2022. So this is one of my practices. So I'm happy to share this data with you. So if you look along the kind of the middle of the screen, it's a rank. So you can see numbers that say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is going to highlight, if you keep clicking through, Eric, this is going to highlight our worst months. So, and this is my data, but this is pretty much consistent across all 4 of our offices. The same months are typically our worst months, and the same months are typically our better months. So that's why we picked November as our first month, because it's one of the, in our history, it's one of our worst months. So it's easy to get away from the practice for a couple of days and not really lose out. But just remember, as Chris was saying, during some of our pre-event webinars, so those who are registered for the meeting, we're going to have some pre-event webinars where we're going to talk about what you can do, what programs you can leave with your staff while you're gone, that's going to help make you money while you're gone. So even though you may be out of the office, if you don't have an associate, you're still going to have a plan of how to make money. Your staff can make money while we're gone. So if you go back to that, I'm sorry, real quick, Eric, pardon me. So we're going to use these numbers, and obviously we'll talk about this at the summit, but hopefully we're going to use these months to plan our meetings. So we're going to hopefully have all the same kind of data. So I'm going to ask everybody that comes to the meeting to bring this data with them, which is their best months, with their worst months, and we're going to decide which months we should have our meetings. So it's not going to be completely driven by myself or Chris or Eric. We're going to collaborate on, well, when do y'all want to do this next year, and when do you want to do it the next year? Whether it be February, which is the number our 9th month, May, September, or November. Those tend to be our worst. But we're going to use that data to not only to analyze but to strategize for when we're going to have GRT meetings. So go ahead and flip to the next slide, please, if you would. So this is something you hear a lot. You've heard a lot about through COVID, is flatten the curve. And when I say that, what I mean is we got to figure out how to decrease the variance between our best and our worst months. So, and that's for cash flow. That's for just, paying bills. And there's ways, and Chris and I have talked about a lot about this, of how you can do it. And the ways we do it is we look at not only the variance. If you click through Eric a couple times. So this is our monthly variance is 45,000 from our best to our worst. Our quarterly variance from our best to worst is 25.8. So we do a little better on the quarterly variance, but we're still working on that monthly variance to try and get, keep our strong months strong, but figure out ways to boost our lesser months. And what we're going to do in this meeting, we're going to go dive into this really heavy, is how to strategize and utilize those numbers that you bring to figure out what you can do. And that would be, pre-appointing and scheduling. So scheduling more of your 6-month medical follow-ups in those worst months. Pre-appointing, if you see somebody this year, rather than schedule them in next year and when your bad month, pre-appoint them for one of your lesser months. Do your recall and marketing. Do those during your heavy months. So your lesser months, you give people a chance to make their appointments. And marketing, that's just, the more you get your name out in front of these your patients, the more likely they're going to remember to make an appointment, or that they need to make an appointment. Yeah, I was at dinner last night, and I'm a walking billboard because I saw two patients that I know at the restaurant that said, "Hey, I need to come get my eyes checked." And sure enough, they called today and made their eye appointment. So it's just kind of, the more we get our names and our faces in front of these people, the more we're going to get them to come back. Frame sale events, we're going to talk about how to have a successful frame sale. It's something that we do twice a year. We do it during our worst months of the year. So we offer huge, big discounts. And it's been great to help flatten that curve. We don't hire anybody or a team member. We don't do any staff training during our busy months because there's just not time. It's just, you can't give your staff members, it's not fair to hire them during the busy months. Now, obviously, sometimes we have to do that, but we try not to. We try just to hold on through our busy months and wait till that 12 month or that 11 month or 10 or just to hire those people, because then we have more time for our management to do training, myself to do training. There's just really unique ways to order frames and stock. You want to order them at certain times, so you're not getting those bills during your slower months where the cash flow is a little down. We don't let any of our doctors take personal vacations during our busy months, because that's, the sun is shining, so we got to make hay when that is occurring. So this is all the stuff that you're going to learn at the GRT Summit. In addition to Chris, he's one of the most dynamic speakers I've heard lately. I heard one of our colleagues, Leo Sims, call him the up and coming. So I'm so glad that he's our partner, and I hope you guys see how much passion Eric brings to optometry, and that's why I like him so much. So, Eric, I'm going to hold you to keeping that through the rest of this adventure with us.
Absolutely, we're holding on tight. And yeah, we've only just begun. Hey, so if there's, we've got some radical audio. Is that the new blue ball?
I don't think so.
Anyhow. Oh man, it caught me again. We're now running into some technical difficulties. Hey, if there's any questions, please drop them in the chat. And I suppose, seeing as we've had none, Dr. Roten, Dr. Mormon, any closing comments regarding some things that are in store for GRT?
Well, again, we're just really excited. We love to have anybody join us who's available to. We look forward to learning from you, learning with you, helping your practice grow and transition, and be able to retain. And so go to grt.com if you want to learn more. That's our website. We've got a presence on Instagram and Facebook as well. We've got some LinkedIn social media presence also. And so, again, we'd love to answer any questions you have. If you want to reach out to us, our contact information is all on the website, grt.com. And come grow, retain, and transition with us.
Absolutely. Well, Dr. Chris Roten, Dr. Paul Mormon, thank you all for everything you're doing with GRT Summit. And it's a pleasure and a privilege that Akrinos can help make this happen. On behalf of all of us here at Akrinos, Eric Matei signing off, wishing everyone a wonderful week. and hope you can join us at GRT Summit 2022. Check it out at grtsummit.com. Everybody have a great week.
Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.